Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of Pink Sock Podcast. I am your host, Mike Usenick. I am here with somebody quite incredible. We just reviewed their album, The Silence. We will have him here in a minute, but here is our intro. We haven't done this in a while, so let's do the intro and then bring on Leon Kraft of Midnight Fracture. Hello, brother. It has been a while. How you doing?
It has. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. What are you drinking in your mug today?
Just coffee today. Just coffee.
Me too. I got a nice glass of dark anxiety. That's what I've.
This is dark anxiety and whatever was cheap from Walmart at the time.
What's weird is coffee is one of those things. It's very good for you, but it also causes anxiety if you drink too much of it.
But it's I call it my anti-murder juice.
It is a good anti-murder juice. I prefer mine dark. How do you like your coffee?
Decently dark. I used to, like, when I first started drinking coffee, after I started paying taxes, I kind of understood. Because I used to hate coffee.
Uh-huh.
And so when I first started drinking coffee, it was pretty heavy on the cream and sugar. But like as I've gotten older and more jaded and more bitter, the darker the coffee has become.
The more bitter you become, the more bitter you like your coffee.
It's a very parallel thing. It really is.
Well, the thing is, people don't realize is they always get told throughout the years that coffee's good for you, but not all the sugar and creamer that you put in it.
Correct. Yeah, like straight black coffee is apparently very good for you.
It is. It's good for liver and all that shit.
Yes, and I have done quite a bit of damage to my liver, so it is needed.
That and green tea. So if you want to clear out your liver.
Dude, I love green tea. I freaking love green tea. There was a time in my life where that was basically almost all I drank.
Me too. But the thing is you got to look out for is too much caffeine, too much of anything.
Oh, yeah. Like, there'll be times, like, I don't know if you've heard of these, like, there's these pop-up shops where they'll have, like, super, like, nutrition teas.
Yeah.
That has, like, 80 million vitamins, but also, like, 500 cc's of caffeine. I swear to God, though, I have never felt better in my life than after I've drunk one of those.
Yeah, like, it's fucking crazy. But, like, you only drink one of those.
Only one of those. And also they're expensive. It's like $15 for just one.
See, I've been getting from this local company. They're an organic company. It is kind of expensive, but they're delicious. And that's the negative. What's good for you and what tastes good is fucking expensive.
I've seen you posting about those.
Yeah, it is called 19 Coffee Company. There's another one that I do. They're from Pittsburgh.
Okay. Every now and then when I want to get bougie, there's a YouTuber that I like to watch by the name of Jacksepticeye, and he has his own coffee company, and it's Top of the Morning Coffee, and it's actually really, really good. Like, I don't, anytime an influencer like tries to create their own like drink or this or that, or like, I'm always skeptical, but like I just wanted to try it, and it actually is probably one of the best blends I've ever had.
Dude, I have to try it. A friend of mine, I haven't had him on the show in a while, but AC Slade has his own coffee company, Catfight Coffee.
Well, okay.
And it's pretty good. It's a pretty good coffee company. You should check it out. So, last time you were on the show, you had just left Love the Hate, and now you're in Midnight Fracture. You have a new band, which, top of the morning to you. You're fucking incredible with this band.
Thank you, sir.
I expected something different, but most of the time, no offense to you or anybody, but most of the time when somebody leaves a band, goes to another, it's similar music. Like it's the same fucking thing. This band's completely different. Nothing against Love the Hate. They're an amazing group as well. But you went off on your own and did something completely different. And this band kind of takes me back to my high school days, back when like melodic metalcore was still huge.
Yeah. So Yeah, like I've gotten that a lot, especially when I first released I'm Fine.
Yeah.
Well, it was multifaceted, the reactions I got from that, but one of the main ones was like, this, I wasn't expecting this kind of sound out of you, but this was the sound I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, like I would roll up to Love to Hate practices and I'm bumping Bullet from a Valentine, Trivium, Shadows Fall, Early Atreyu, Cradle of Filth. Like I was always like bumping the heaviest stuff out of anybody. Like it was, I've always been a hardcore metalhead, and I just ended up playing bass in an active rock band, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It was just never fully what I wanted to do musically.
Yeah.
So then when I left, I'm just going to write what I want to write. And that's what came out. Cause like in my formative years of like, when I was first learning to play instruments and stuff like that, like the big bands that I was listening to were Trivium, Shadows Fall, Armada Mars, Bullet for My Valentine, Children of Bodom, In Flames. So I'm heavily influenced by them. And thrash metal and all that. Like Metallica was the band that made me want to pick up a guitar in the first place. And that was a thing that surprised a lot of people, was that, oh, Leon can play guitar.
And he can sing.
Because here's the thing, like, people because like I'm located on the Gulf Coast in Mobile, Alabama. So in this scene, because people didn't know me back when I was living in North Alabama, and I was fronting and playing rhythm guitar in thrash metal bands. So when I came into this scene, I originally got hired to be the rhythm guitar player in a band called As Vulture's Circle. I spent about 8 months in that band, and then one day Frank Killian, the lead guitar player of Love to Hate, came to our rehearsal space, and they were looking for a bass player. But how I ended up playing bass is I got hired to be rhythm guitar player in As Vulture's Circle, and then the very next day the bass player quit.
Oh shit.
And I happened to have a left-handed piece of crap $100 bass in a storage closet. That's how I ended up playing bass. It wasn't by choice, it was by necessity. And then it took about 8 years for me to finally be able to quit fucking playing bass. It was never something I wanted to do. It was something I just did out of necessity. But because I spent so long doing it, I was only known as a bass player. Nobody knew I had any of these other abilities. And it was fun to be able to showcase them. And also in a place I don't like to talk about at parties, it was a little bit of a told you motherfuckers.
I can do more than just play fucking bass.
Yeah. Like I've fronted bands before, I've played guitar in bands before, and like I finally get to go back to what I was doing in the first place and wanted to do.
So with Midnight Fracture, I didn't see it listed on this Facebook page, but do you do the clean vocals and the screams, or do you have somebody else scream?
No, I just do the clean vocals. One of my guitar players, Brandon Rogers, does the screams. It's like I've known Brandon for a couple years. When I was in Love to Hate, his previous band and Love to Hate would play all the time. So like I knew he could scream because they'd do some covers that had some screams. And so I had just finished writing the music for Break Me. And there's a middle bridge part that I sometimes call the Lorna Shore part. But I wrote it specifically because I knew Brandon was going to be joining the project and I knew he could scream. So I made it that heavy because I wanted screaming over it. And I remember he came into the studio to lay down the screams, and the very first thing he did was that big, loud, just that rah at the very beginning of the song. And I remember me and my producer were just like, shit.
When I heard that first, I was like, that dude cannot just scream, but he screams for like a long time.
Yeah, and well, and very well, and now going forward too, because we just added Kevin Jocelyn as a second guitar player. He also can scream, but he's very good at like the low gutturals. So I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait to Frankenstein this shit.
So are you working on like a full length album now, or are
Yes,
you
writing for the full album has already begun. We've already laid down quite a few ideas. So like it's literally the weekend that the EP dropped, we started writing the next stuff like immediately.
So is the album gonna have like also some of the music from the EP, or is it completely new music?
The plan as of now is to include some of the songs from the EP, but like we're churning out ideas literally every time we get together, and I won't put it in absolutes. It may become its own entity. I'm not entirely sure what direction we're going to go yet. But the plan now is to add the EP songs, but it could just very well be, because I mean the creative juices are flowing. It could just be like, well, we just made just 12 songs just off rip. That's its own thing. The EP is its own thing. We don't know.
What you could do if you have the funds for it is there's a lot of bands that if they pump out a lot of music, they'll do like volume 1, volume 2 of one album.
That's true.
And if it's like the music is kind of related, you can easily just pump out a volume 1 and volume 2.
And that's an idea that's actually been floated around. Have you been in our practice space?
I've been hiding out in the window in that bush.
But it's definitely an idea that's been floated around, and I'm really excited about what we're doing and what we're creating. This is by far the most comfortable and the most fulfilled musically that I've ever felt in any project I've ever been a part of.
I'm glad, bro. You deserve it. And when I heard that you went off on your own, I was excited to hear what the next project was going to be, and I didn't expect it to be this. Like I knew you was into thrash and heavier music. I knew it was going to be heavier, but like this band sounds like all of the bands you listed as influence combined into one. It's kind of it's kind of like a mixture of Bullet for My Valentine, a Trey. Like you can hear the influence.
Oh, 100%, and
and it's incredible.
But we're pretty eclectic in our influences too, just because like everybody, like Brandon is essentially like my guitar twin. Like a lot of the riffs that we write together are very, very similar. And then Kevin is very blues influenced. So a lot of that's going to be starting to come in. And then Joseph, my bass player, is just phenomenal. I mean, and he probably won't accept this compliment, but he is literally a virtuoso at his craft, whether he knows it or not. Like literally last night, he sent us about a 2.5-minute audio clip of something he's working on. And it was one of the most beautiful pieces of music I have ever heard. It's just his bass. And I can't wait I can't wait to write around it. And then like Dallas is a young man. He's only 24, so he's really big into like the new stuff, like the Sleep Tokens and the Silent Planets and the Plot and Muse, and so and he has a lot of great ideas when it comes to like structure and stuff like that. So a lot of that influence is starting to come in too. So like, everybody asks like what genre you are, and like I don't fucking know. Like we're just playing whatever sounds good to us. Because like, I've heard the word metalcore thrown around a lot, and I would agree with that. There is a German publication that did a review of our EP that seemed very offended that the word metalcore was ever used. So I don't fucking know. I don't know who we are. We just play what sounds good. One of the songs that we just laid down some tracking ideas for, I'd call straight up new metal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. Like, we just kind of just whatever we think sounds good, and if we enjoy playing it, that's what it is. For whether it's metal or for all we know, there could be a reggae song on the fucking record. We don't know.
So your genre is subject to change. That's your genre.
Yes. Like it is. Like we're just gonna write whatever the fuck we want because in the past we're kind of pigeonholed into doing this, that, or the third, and it wasn't what we wanted to do. So we're just writing what we want to fucking write, and either people like it or they don't.
In the words of Lemmy of Motorhead, when they interviewed him and said, "What genre are you?" he said, "We're fucking rock and roll."
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what metal is. It's just a form of rock and roll. I understand having labels on stuff so that you can be like, hey, this is what we are. But like, there's too many labels on music.
There is, especially in the world of rock and metal, because there's 80 bazillion different subgenres. Like that same publication, I had to use Google Translate because it was all in German.
Yeah.
But that same publication would say it would be more like alternative metal, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Alternative to what? Like,
right?
I'm so confused.
Well, like I've even dug deep into like different subgenres because I try to stay hip, as they say, and listen to like newer music. And there is now cello metal, and there's sitar metal, and I don't know if you've heard of sitar metal, but it's fucking beautiful.
It sounds awesome. Like sitar is an interesting instrument.
It's a dude on his sitar, and he's doing like gent and shit on a sitar.
That's fucking dope.
I'm like, what the fuck? So you guys you mentioned Break Me. You guys did release a music video for that on July 14th, which everybody should check out. Amazing fucking song. I just wanted to give that a shout out. And you also weren't you featured on the Sound magazine?
It was more our picture was in it.
Well, at least you made it somehow.
Yeah, our picture was in it. It was the context was actually a nice gesture. They were talking about band and brand image and why it's important, and how like your logo needs to be like popping and like a good band photo. And I guess we were included in there as a good example.
Oh, that's
I would
good.
hope. I hope that was the context. Which was nice. Like I appreciate that if that was the context.
You guys do have an amazing band logo.
I believe it or not, I hired someone off of Fiverr to create that logo for me. I basically gave him some notes. I gave him some like, here are other logos that have caught my eye and I kind of like, so something in this vein. Then I gave him some notes of a little bit of the aesthetic that I wanted. And then this was, I'm looking at my computer because the logo is actually my background because I'm not conceited at all. This was one of the three options he gave me, and it was just, it's a great logo. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's a good logo.
I really like the kind of the Korn influence with the backwards R.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I really like it. We actually cover a Korn song in our set too.
Oh, nice. You know what song you should cover? Since you're a martial arts instructor, you should do kung fu fighting.
I knew you were going to say that. No.
Come on. Everybody,
I always have this weird idea, and I don't know if I can get the guys to do it, but you know how there's always that one asshole at every show, Freebird.
Yes.
What if we had the balls to actually fucking do it?
Do a melodic metalcore version of Freebird.
Or at the very least, just go into the part that everybody actually only cares about and do the 3-minute solo. And like, but it's like, what if somebody had the balls to actually do it? What if we were fucking prepared?
And don't even sing it or nothing, just the solo, and then go into
just the solo. That's all anybody actually wants to hear anyway.
and then go into the next fucking song, or add it into one of your songs.
I'm pretty sure we'd have to pay somebody money to do that.
Like play your song and then go right into the Freebird song and then go back into your song.
That would be pretty dope, actually. I like how Pantera would randomly go into Cat Scratch Fever during Cowboys from Hell every now and then.
Yeah, that'd be fucking cool as shit. If you don't mind, I'd like to give a couple shout outs because I got some promotion stuff that I need to get out of the way.
Absolutely.
Our friend, not our friend, but I mean, you might know him too. Our friend at Pink Sock Podcast, Jimmy Madden, just released his latest single, Take You Home, in June, so go check it out on Spotify. I'd also like to shout out the following podcasts and people. Dabs with Dads, which is available on YouTube. They're a stoner podcast. They're pretty fucking awesome, pretty dope. Useless Reality, where they question the reality that we live in. Royce In The House, which is a music podcast to check out. Just the Facts Man, which is our friend Dan McNew, who was friends with Dimebag of Pantera. And both the Anselmo brothers, really, well, both of the Abbott brothers. And Ryan Roxie, a good friend of ours, he has In the Trenches and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know if he still does In the Trenches because he's on tour right now, but go check all those shows out. Now, as for this album you are working on, I know you don't have any details or nothing because you just started working on it, but musically, is it going to be similar to the EP, or is it going to be heavier, or is it just going to be a mixture? It just depends on the song.
I think it's just going to be whatever we want it to be.
That's
because like we don't when we write a song, we don't set out to keep it in the like, okay, this is going to be a new metal song. This is going to be a ballad. This is going to be a metalcore song. This is going to be just a rock and roll song. Like
this is going to be polka.
It could be, but basically we write around the riff. Like and most of the time it's just like people are just dicking around before we actually start, and it's just like, I like what I'm hearing. Hey, hit pause and let's loop on that real quick. So it's whatever sounds good to our ear, because like as far as like my influences go, it goes from Michael Jackson to extreme black metal. Like, so there are elements that I find good and I find enjoyable from that very far A to that very far Z. So it literally could be anything, and but at the end of the day, it's gonna be whatever we want it to be. And
when it comes to this band, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
There is no main songwriter with this band, from what I'm understanding. So
not anymore, because like Midnight Fracture originally started as my solo project.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but now it seems like it's an actual band at this point. It's not.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like I started this and it was my solo project, and like I'm fine, find myself again. I released that as just myself, but Midnight Fracture now is comprised of 5 individuals. It's like not one person anymore. Everybody contributes. 100%. Everybody contributes. Like everybody can contribute to lyric writing. Everybody contributes to riff writing. Everybody contributes to structure. It's 100% split 5 ways, 20%. It's equal now. So yeah, this is 100% a fully collaborative thing, and everybody's ideas are heard. And even if they're maybe not implemented in the initial setting of when the idea was presented, if it's still a good idea, it's going to get used down the road.
See, that's where I was wondering, because I remember when you first announced the project, it was like a solo, and then you said you're adding members. And then I kind of viewed it as like your own, trying to find a way to explain it. Like, this is your Foo Fighters, pretty much, where it started off as a solo project, and now it's just its own
I've
band.
Actually even made that. I was talking with Doc St. Andre, who is the former lead singer of Love the Hate. And I'm still very good friends with him, close with him. And I told him too, because like when there was interest in people joining the project, he even made that same joke of like, you're just kind of Dave Grohling this shit. And I'm like, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Without intending to, because my original intention was I was going to write and record and release, and then I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to sunset myself. I was completely done. I just needed to get some shit off my chest, prove a point, and then I was done. I was just going to resign myself to the daily doldrums of my job, I guess.
And here you are, still doing it.
Well, I made the mistake of going to a local show, and Brandon and Joseph, and ironically Kevin, who ended up joining far later, but they were all in another band together, and they were playing this show, and I hadn't released I'm Fine yet, but I had already actually tracked all the music to what would become Find Myself Again. And we were at the show, we were just talking. They were interested in what I was doing because, like, I had been pretty quiet musically for a long time at that point. And I showed them, we went out back, I showed them I'm Fine, and I showed them the music to Find Myself Again. And then later that night, both Brandon and Joseph individually approached me and was like, hey, man, if you ever want to play these live or do the band thing again, like, I want to be a part of it. But neither of them knew that they had both approached me. And I went home and I talked about it because I wasn't sure about it. Like, do I want to put myself through this crap again? Do I even want to try again? Does anybody even give a shit about what I'm doing in the first place? Because, when I left Love the Hate, a lot of people I thought were my friends all of a sudden didn't have any use for me anymore. So there was that in the back of my head too, right? And I, after a good bit of convincing, decided, all right, we'll give it a shot. Then Brandon and Joseph joined the project. And Brandon works with Dallas's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas found us and asked if he could audition. We found his YouTube channel. And he hasn't posted anything on it in a very long time, but he had a YouTube channel where he's doing drum covers to, like, Avenged Sevenfold, Silent Planet, Architects, and just hitting them note for note, nailing them. And I'm just like, well, shit, okay. So we get the guy to come in. His audition, he didn't play a note. We just wanted to talk to him and make sure he was cool.
That's cool as fuck.
And he's chill as shit. And I love Dallas. You need to have a conversation with Dallas because he has his own vernacular, and it's very infectious. Where when you're around him, you tend to end up copying him because it's so fucking ridiculous and funny. It's like he has his own language, and you kind of learn it by following context clues. Right. And then Kevin, who again was in that band with Brandon and Joseph, like, Kevin literally only just joined us just under 2 months ago. And he just, I guess, got tired of what he was doing or what he wasn't doing musically and contacted us. And he came in and just nailed it. Like, immediately came in, knew all the shit. And it was just like, how could he not be the guy?
Sorry, bro.
Hello, Mike.
Sorry, man. My camera and shit shut off. But he sounds like an incredible individual, bro.
Oh, 100%. Kevin is fantastic. They're all fantastic. Like, if anything, and they will disagree with this, but I have said this to them, and they have disagreed with this. If anything, as far as, like, level of musicianship, I'm the weak link in this chain now, if anything.
Dude, we need to bring them on the show, you guys together. I don't know why I did this.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know why I did the scissoring thing, but okay. Oh.
Dallas might enjoy it.
He might. Just no eye contact. Just remember that.
No, be a man. Make eye contact.
Okay, you got to establish dominance.
Exactly.
This show took a turn. And so, do you still do the martial arts stuff, or are you just purely music right now?
I don't really teach anymore. I wish I did. I miss it with my whole heart. Um, miss it a lot. I do have a lot of knee problems that kind of
You mentioned that.
prevent, like, it's kind of a daily thing. Like, my knees are kind of touch and go. Like, I'm having to wear braces all the time at work, on stage, whatever like that. Um, Probably the first of the year, I'm going to get a couple knee surgeries done, and then I'll be good to go again. But
So I got a question for you. I know this might be like a different topic, but I like talking about various shit.
yeah,
With your knee problems and stuff, have you thought about going on what they call the anti-inflammatory diet? It actually helps with shit like that, where you avoid certain foods and focus on
yeah,
other foods.
I've heard about it, but like I currently have torn ligaments in my knees that I just have not been able to get repaired because America's healthcare system. Um,
Woo!
woo, like literally, I've had a torn ligament in my left knee for carry the two, like almost 4 years now.
Jesus, how do you do it?
I just ignore it
See,
to the best of my ability.
our healthcare system's fucked. Like, I was talking to Naomi, who is our producer. She lives in Germany. She went to the hospital on and off for a week, and she paid no hospital bill.
No, it does frustrate me to no end that if I had injured my knee in virtually, I
Any
won't say
country.
virtually, that's a little unfair, but most other developed countries, I could have got it fixed the very next day.
Yeah, and not pay anything. The thing that it doesn't drive me nuts that it does drive me nuts that we don't have much healthcare. What drives me nuts the most is that we pay taxes on healthcare that we do not receive.
That's the thing.
We pay taxes on Medicare, but we're not able to get it because we make too much. How do we make too much if we're paying for it?
Yeah. But now the last martial arts class I taught was April 2nd of 2022. It was like just a generic fitness kickboxing class, just a bunch of Karens trying to get their cardio on. So like no real technique or anything really being taught there. But no, I really miss teaching. I miss teaching so very much. Because like music and martial arts have always been my two major loves in my life, and it kind of sucks. Like one is going way up here, but it does kind of suck that the other one is basically stopped, and not by my choice.
You know what you could do?
Hmm.
You could do, instead of like in person stuff, you could do like a YouTube channel of martial arts and just train on there whenever you're not doing the music.
Yeah, I've seen, which he passed away recently, but Jason David Frank did a similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that played the Green Ranger in the original Power Rangers series.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, he was actually the reason I became a martial artist in the first place.
And he was also an undefeated mixed martial artist, if I'm not
Yeah, he
mistaken.
was. He kind of was a badass, but the unseen enemy ended up beating him, and it's
Unfortunate. It is very.
when one of your heroes loses to that thing.
If you, this brings me to my next thing because I am a big mental health advocate, and since we mentioned Jason David Frank, anxiety and depression is a real big problem in this country, in any country really. And I'm not saying that one gender has it worse than the other, but when you're a male, it tends to be harder because you're not supposed to have feelings.
Hey,
But
why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about.
But if you ever need to reach out, do it. Because
100%.
those around you, if they make it a big deal or they aren't there, then they weren't meant to be in your life. You need to be able to be the most realistic version of yourself.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, you can probably, tell. 'Cause you even made the joke in your, and you've said to me personally too. You've joked that when I released I'm Fine, you straight up messaged me and was like, "Who hurt you?"
Yeah, who hurt you? Because I heard this EP, I'm like, who the fuck hurt you?
Do you remember my reply?
Vaguely.
Life.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Life hurt me. And I don't want to play like I have some sob story or anything. Like everybody does.
Yeah,
like my story is not unique. I'm just very vocal about it.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics of the Silence EP from top to bottom is basically a commentary of my own mental health at the time when I was writing them.
Mm-hmm.
The song The Silence, that one in particular, was a very hard song to write. Very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It was also the first song that was the first true collaborative Midnight Fracture song. Because Break Me, yeah, Brandon came in for the screams, but like the music had already been written.
Mm-hmm.
The Silence, the last song in the EP, was the first truly collaborative Midnight Fracture song where everybody had some input.
Is that the only song on the album that's that way too?
At the moment.
Okay.
But the lyrics for that song, and the guys will tell you this too, took me a long time to write. I was mentally not in a good place. I was struggling with my job, not on the performance aspect, but the being happy with with what I was doing and being fulfilled, and like kind of like one of those I'm wasting away here kind of things. And I still work there, and some of them are probably going to watch this because I'm friendly with them, but they know my feelings
yes
about the job, so it's not an issue. But I was feeling familiar feelings that I hadn't felt in a while. So, full disclosure, I have tried to take my own life more than once. Either I found something I'm not very good at, or there's a reason I should still be here. The lyrics of that song are essentially the inner thoughts or the inner monologue of somebody right before they attempt.
Mm-hmm. That's what I caught on that song.
But and most specifically, some of those lines directly were my own.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a song about like somebody who actually tried to reach out for help and was either brushed off or blatantly ignored and met with silence.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the first line of the song, reaching for someone to save me. And you're always, a lot of the times, because mental health isn't taken nearly as seriously as it really should be.
Mm-hmm.
You're met with, can't you just get over it? Or it's all in your head, especially that all in your head line. And there's a line in the song that commentates on this, but for someone that deals with anxiety and depression, especially on a high level or a high degree of it, in your head is literally the worst fucking place it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd rather that shit be on the outside so I can at least fucking put up some hands and face it, right?
See, this is where we can relate. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah, go ahead.
This album really reached out to me. I've never attempted, at least not recently. It was a long time ago. I thought of it, but I never actually attempted. But I deal with really bad anxiety myself on a daily basis. It's getting worse as I get older because you start realizing your own mortality and life just happens.
Mm-hmm.
But this album really reached out. But the thing is like a lot of people don't realize is we know it's in our head. We know that we overreact. We know every time that we think of a really, really bad scenario or thought or worry about the future, it's just worry. It's not reality. But the thing is reminding yourself that when you're in that place.
It's very hard. It is very hard to find that little pinpoint of light in that darkness, because you're absolutely right. It's not as if we're unaware.
Yeah.
We're
very aware.
And everyone's like, it's you're seeking attention or this. It's like, no, that's not fucking it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even hard to focus when you're in that place.
It's extremely hard to focus, and it's very hard to get out of it. When you see people too that were like well springs of positivity, at least in a public face, like 3 of my biggest heroes have lost to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Chester Bennington, Jason David Frank, and Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, especially when you have a fucked up head like mine, you go, if they fucking couldn't beat it, what fucking chance do I have?
The Robin Williams one it didn't really throw me off guard because he was very open about his struggles.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still wild because he seemed like the most positive human being.
Right. And it's, and then, with Chester too, you go back and you listen to his lyrics and it's like blatantly obvious.
Yeah. His lyrics made it obvious.
The Jason David Frank one, that one fucked me up because there was that I could see there was no signs.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
The thing is you never know what is going on in somebody's head, and when they're struggling because they don't reach out, because of the anxiety, because of the depression, makes you feel like nobody cares about that side of you. They only care about the positive, so you got to act positive all day.
Right.
And it's a very tiring thing. And what sucks is when I'm very open about what I'm dealing with, and I don't do it for sympathy. I do it so that other people know they're not alone.
Exactly.
And people think I'm doing it for sympathy, and I'm like, no. Like, my struggles, I don't think is worse than the next person's. I don't think my struggles might not be as bad as this person's or this person's, but I want them to at least know that they are not alone in this fucked up thing we call life. And when I say fucked up thing we call life, life is beautiful. But we need to work together and be more open about our own struggles. Not in a way of like, hey, my struggle is worse than yours or whatever. We are all, I believe, equal.
Mm-hmm.
Our struggles, your struggle might be worse in your head than this person's, but we're all in a fucked up world.
100%. And when it comes to, I think my ultimate goal, because music has literally saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Music is why I'm still solid and I'm still sitting here and talking to my buddy Mike. So, as I jokingly call our music angry sad boy music, but if Midnight Fracture's music reaches somebody in a positive manner, and just lets them know, somebody that's struggling with the same shit that I struggle with, and lets them know that they're not alone in this shit, exactly as you said.
Yeah.
And it keeps them around for just a little longer, job done.
Yeah.
I think, because as you get older, people will talk about legacy and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
If Midnight Fracture's music can reach somebody, let them know they're not alone and that it's okay to feel what you're feeling, and keep them around for a little longer, just like music has done to me. If I can give that same gift to somebody that music has given to me, then let that be mine and Midnight Fracture's legacy.
Exactly.
I'm 100% okay with that. And a matter of fact, that really is the goal.
The thing with my mental struggle, and you can relate to this, is sometimes it makes it even hard to focus on what you need to focus on, like your own projects and shit. Like with you, you quit music for a while because of it. Now, what's kept me here is music and stand-up comedy. And I haven't done stand-up since I was in high school, which I'm going to get to this now. It's been hard to focus on my jokes and stuff, but I'm getting back into stand-up comedy.
I saw you were about to start doing that.
I don't know if it's going to be long-term or not. I'm going to be honest, but I am going to attempt to do stand-up again. I rented out a gym. If you're in the Belmont County, Ohio area, I'm going to be doing stand-up comedy August 20th at the Belmont Gym in Belmont, Ohio. Tickets are only $5. Showtime's at 7. I've got some great comedians with me. So if I'm not funny, at least they are. And we also have some rappers there. We have Calligraphy there, some local rappers. We have Silent Simba. Bro, if you want to make your way out to Ohio and enjoy some stand-up comedy.
I've only been to Ohio once, and I was mainly just passing through Ohio, and I bought a hoodie that is still my favorite hoodie to this day at a Walmart in Dayton, Ohio.
What's it say?
It doesn't say anything. It's just a plain hoodie, but it's damn comfy.
Driving through Ohio, people joke about this, but this is true. Driving through Ohio is literally like this. Driving. There's a sign that says something God lives here or whatever. And then you keep driving, cornfield. And then you keep driving, city. Like Ohio, there is a lot to do in Ohio, but there's also nothing at the same time.
I was about to say, that sounds an awful lot like Alabama.
Well, Alabama's worse, I've been told. And last time you were on the show, you bitched about Alabama.
I will bitch about Alabama so much. Like you were talking about a sign that's like God lives here. There's literally a sign, and it's become a meme now. It's on I-65, and it says, "Go to church or the devil will get you." It's just on the side of the road. It's fucking huge. Like you literally can Google this and look it up. Like it's there. But
in Ohio, bro, we used to have this Jesus statue with its hands in the air. Looked like he just scored a fucking touchdown. And he looked like he was made out of butter or like sweet cream. And he had his hands up in the air. It was like a 20-foot statue. And they finally took it down because it got struck by lightning twice and caught on fire.
There's a joke there, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
You know it's bad when he don't even want it there.
I'm gonna just let that one sit.
I'm gonna say I'll say it. It's bad when he don't even want it there.
But not like there are parts of Alabama that like I do enjoy, but like for the most part, it's too fucking hot down here, bro. I miss snow.
Move to Ohio, dude. Be my neighbor. Let's do this.
You just told me there's nothing in Ohio.
There is. There's just looks like there's nothing when you're driving through it.
I'll get better sports teams and I'll think about it.
I don't even watch sports, bro. Like other than like men in spandex, like pro wrestling. You know, I like that stuff.
Bro, I don't really watch sports anymore either, but it's mainly because I don't have cable. I just keep up with scores on like the ESPN app now.
See, it's always been weird for me because like my attention span, I might have ADD, I'm not sure, but like I can't focus. Like this is the longest I've ever done a podcast is 4 or 5 years because I get another project I want to do and I get really good at it. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I want to do this and I want to do that. My brain's in like 40 different places at once.
Oh, yeah, I do the same thing. And I do have ADHD. So you probably have it. I used to have what I call career ADHD, where it's like I was trying 18 different careers all at the same time.
And then you get stressed because of it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I've always said that it's a superpower and it's my own worst enemy because like lately I've been kind of getting into dieting because I'm not going to get too far into it because my health isn't awful. It's just my anxiety makes me think it is. But like I went to the doctors and some of my numbers are off. So now I'm like, oh my God, I need to diet. And I've never dieted before. And I went and do a full fucking swing with dieting. And I'm big into cannabis and I'm big into podcasting. And I need to just find one thing and fucking stick with it.
Yeah, I've been told the same thing, but it's hard because like I have so many interests that I want to delve into and explore and experiences that I want to have.
And you have anxiety, which makes it worse.
Which makes it worse, especially because it's like I was just talking to a coworker about this. So like I had a day off on Thursday, and there is a task that I need to get done.
Uh-huh.
And instead of doing the thing, I just sat on the couch all day thinking about doing the thing, and then I just never did the thing. And then I just felt like a piece of shit for not doing the thing.
I've been there.
I just they sometimes call it like ADHD paralysis, but which is basically what happened to me, where I keep thinking about this task that I need to do, and I just continue thinking about it and all the different ways I can go about it instead of just doing the thing.
Yep, that's been me lately because I used to be big into like walking and meditating and all that shit. And with the podcast, I'm like, I need to start promoting more, blah, blah, blah. And instead of doing the thing, I wait until the last minute to fucking do the thing, or I just don't do it. It's just my life in my head's just better than what it is.
Yeah. I was just sitting on the couch, just like watching like YouTube or like doom scrolling on TikTok. And I was like, man, I really got to do the thing. Oh, the next video. Ha ha ha. Like,
they say though that I need to do less like on my phone shit because they say your phone is your own worst enemy. Your device is your own worst enemy because devices are dumbing us down.
Oh, 100%.
Like, with my anxiety, the way my anxiety works is I have a form of like health anxiety and social anxiety and shit. I'll get a random symptom or I'll get a random thought and I'll be on Google all day freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
You do that shit, don't you?
I go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole all the time.
And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm dying this week. Like, I joke about it, but I don't know why the fuck the human brain does that shit, bro.
The brain is our biggest tool and also our own worst enemy, for sure.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't think I asked you this last time. How did you come up with the name Midnight Fracture? Because those are two words that kind of go together but don't.
So this is gonna tie into the sad boy shit again, but so when I thought, so this project started, or the idea for it started on July 16th at around midnight. So it could have been the 15th, but I'm saying the 16th. Around midnight, I had a very severe panic attack. Pretty severe. Like one of those kind of crisis of identity, loss of purpose, because like I had left Love to Hate. I was dabbling around a little bit with this thrash metal band, but it really wasn't what I was wanting to do. So I ended up leaving them, and then like I had nothing. So it's like now I don't have martial arts. I don't have music anymore. Literally the things that have been my constant my entire life was gone. So what's my purpose now? I don't have one. And that freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, I've been there, bro.
And I broke. I completely broke and had one of the most severe panic attacks I've had in recent memory. When I came out of it is when I reached the decision, fine, fuck it. I'm going to write and release some shit. Prove my point. And then I'm done. So I contacted our producer, Charlie Hadley, who I've worked with in the past with Love to Hate. He recorded the entire Burn record with Love to Hate. have always worked well with him and have always had like a kind of a kindred spirit with Charlie. So I sent him a message and was like, hey man, here's what I'm thinking. I think I might be done with music, but before I go, I want to record some shit with you. So it was right before I released I'm Fine. I realized I kind of got put a name to whatever this is, right? And I didn't want to do just like my name because like the shit in my head telling me I ain't shit. Like, who gives a fuck about Leon, right?
Yeah.
So I sat and I thought about, I was recalling because like I recorded I'm Fine August 27th of last year. Was the day that I went in the studio and recorded it. So like I was recalling like why I wanted to do this in the first place, and I remembered the panic attack. And I distinctly remembered in the middle of the panic attack looking over at the digital clock on the stove and it said midnight. And I was just like, okay, something to do with midnight. And then I was just like, well, in that moment, my brain was kind of fracturing. And that's literally how I came up with Midnight Fracture.
Damn, bro.
So Midnight Fracture is the name Midnight Fracture is the product of a severe panic attack or my brain fracturing literally at midnight.
Bro, like
on a Friday.
You guys are like an emo band.
I mean, kind of.
Bro, I know this is kind of cliche because it's hard to reach out when you're in that moment because you feel
100%.
Like nobody gives a shit. That's why a lot of my friends are like, "Why don't you reach out?" Well, in that moment, you feel like nobody cares. But if you ever need anything, Leon, my inbox is always open.
No, I appreciate that. The same goes to you.
I appreciate it. It just seems like with anxiety, it's something that sometimes you got to go through yourself.
It is like a lot of the times the only person that can pull me out of it is myself.
Yeah, because you can get reassurance from everyone and still be in that moment.
Yeah, because it's when you're in that shit, it's hard to believe any positive affirmations or anything like that.
Yeah. You do temporarily.
Not that they're not appreciated, and absolutely keep doing that if you have somebody in your life that goes through this, but like in the moment, it's sometimes hard to believe it because that voice in your head is very fucking powerful.
And if you do believe it, though, you only believe it temporarily.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's awesome. That's great advice. That's great this, that, and the other. And then like 2 hours later, you're having another panic attack. And what's sad is when you're in that loop, you're like, the anxiety is what's going to kill me. And then you freak out about the anxiety existing.
My existential dread thought that I've kind of been obsessed with over the last year was, or is, and continues to be, is if I were to die today,
yes,
would I be happy with how I spent my time?
That's what I've been dealing with, bro.
And the answer 99.9% of the time is a very loud and resounding no. Because like, and again, even though some of them are going to watch this, they know this. I've been very vocal about it. I don't enjoy my job. I don't wake up excited any morning, most mornings. Like, don't get me wrong. I was excited to speak to you this morning. I was actually looking forward to it. But it was probably one of the first times I was looking forward to something in the morning in a very long time. Just because we always have nice and pleasant conversations. But like on a regular day-to-day basis, like I don't wake up excited for what the day is about to bring.
Well, you're always welcome on the show, bro. Like,
yes, but again,
anxiety.
You go live when I'm at that place.
We actually don't do lives much anymore. We do pre-records.
Well, that I can do.
because I found that due to the pandemic, it's just hard. Like after everybody went back to work, people usually listen afterwards anyway, so there's really no point in going live all the time.
Yeah, but
Continue.
and like I'll talk shit about what I do for work, but at the end of the day, like it gets me a paycheck. It helps me pay for my house. It's helped me bankroll, the Midnight Fracture stuff up front, because like it costs money to run a band. It costs money to get a logo and artwork and to record songs and distribution and make merch.
Sorry to interrupt, but like I do the podcast. I need to give we both need to give ourselves more credit, because the fact is we need to quit being miserable, and I'm talking to you and to myself at the same time. We need to stop being miserable about our jobs that pay for this shit and start being appreciative that we have that job and try to make that job better than we can, the best we can.
You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct.
And I hate being miserable for 8 hours, because that's 8 hours of my life that I'm not enjoying. And the anxiety makes me more anxious because I'm not enjoying the life that I have. It's not a fulfilling life. It's a never-ending loophole of shit.
Exactly. And it's not that
it's not that we want to be miserable. It's just how the brain works.
It's just how the brain works, because like I am appreciative of all that my job has given me, including all the bad things, I guess. But trying to figure out a good way to word that, and I lost it. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's like you have to be appreciative of the things that you have, but it's also the struggle of
getting your brain there,
but also not being content with what you have. There's, I don't know, like I feel like there's more on the horizon that I just can't reach yet.
The human brain is a weird thing, because we will never be 100% fulfilled and happy unless we allow ourselves to be. Even the richest person that has everything they want is not fully fulfilled, or else they'd quit chasing that money.
Oh, 100%. And that's the thing, is like, it's not really about, it's not about the money for me. Like I was
just using that as an example.
But like I would gladly take a pay cut to go teach martial arts again full time. But you're absolutely right. Like again, the people that seem to have it all sometimes are the ones that, like, I mean, again, I'll bring up Chester Bennington again. Like, multi-platinum artists, sold out arenas all around the world, adored by millions and millions of people the world over. And man,
see,
you know what I mean?
Well, sometimes when you're that big, I imagine you feel like nobody's actually there for you. They're there for who they think you are, or the fame or whatever. So I kind of get why people that big have the same depression, anxiety we do, because we feel like we don't matter. They feel like they don't matter, but at a different level.
Right.
Where everybody just wants them for their fame. We feel like nobody cares about us because we are not as famous as we want to be, or we are not fully fulfilled within our career.
Yep. I would say you are 100% correct on that.
It's a different anxiety level. Now, I love talking mental health with you, and I'd love to do this again, but we're at the hour mark. So go ahead and promote whatever you need to promote. Do your social media stuff. Let's bring you up on the big screen. No pressure. Go ahead.
God, my face. Whoa.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, sir. So just follow Midnight Fracture on all the social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. I don't use it all that much because I'm still trying to figure it out. Stream the Silence EP on your favorite music streaming platform. We're literally on all of them. You can even use our songs as sound on TikTok or your Facebook Reels or your Snapchat things if people still use that. But yeah, follow us. Come in and check us out, and
I'll do that.
Come on this journey with us. We have a lot of live shows coming up in the works all around, and just come and hang out and get angry and sad with Midnight Fracture.
Angry and sad. I love that. If you come to Pittsburgh, or if you want to do any Pittsburgh shows, I can send you some bands in the area and some promoters and see if you can get in contact with them.
I would love to go everywhere. I remember someone asked like, where are you guys trying to go? I'm like, I'm literally everywhere. Like, let's go. We have a few people in Pennsylvania in general that have been asking when can we come up there. We just got a van, so as long as it'll hold together, we can make it up there.
Bro, I hope to see you guys in the near future. Let me know when you want to come back on the show, because it doesn't necessarily have to be about you, about the band. I like having genuine conversations with you about life, mental health, all that shit. I like having real conversations, and that's why I started this podcast. It wasn't started as an interview podcast at all. It was started as a open discussion, and it kind of morphed into interviewing people, and it's been a beautiful journey. And I would love to have you back on very soon, just to talk, because I enjoy.
Absolutely, bro. I've enjoyed every time I've come on here, and I'm the same way. My favorite quote unquote interviews isn't when it's, so what's this song about, or it's when there's actual genuine conversation and we can just kind of shoot the shit about anything, and then every now and then music comes up. But I'm the same with you. I like just having conversation and making I'm kind of a walking contradiction, because it's like I isolate myself a lot, but I also enjoy genuine connection.
Yeah.
But no, I love having just real conversations.
Yeah. And I don't really like to compare myself with anyone, because I like to think I'm kind of my own kind of podcast. But I love the radio shows like Howard Stern or Joe Rogan, where you have somebody on, but you're not interviewing them. It's just two friends hanging out, talking about whatever. Which brings me to something that I want to ask you before we go off here, a random question. Sure. Recently, I still drink cow's milk, but I recently started trying goat's milk and sheep milk products. Have you tried drinking goat milk?
I have not. I've heard it's quite good, but I've never actually been able to. I've never had the opportunity to try it, just because where I'm located, there's not really
goats.
I'm sure I can find it somewhere, but there's not a lot of eclectic shopping options. I'd be very interested to try it.
I got lucky because some local convenience stores do sell goat's milk. One does in particular. But sheep milk, cheese and shit's available at our local Kroger. And it is more filling than cow milk, and it's actually tastes better.
Huh.
And it's better for you. I know you're big into martial arts and health and shit. It's a lot better for you, too, because it's higher in, I forget, choline. It's higher in a bunch of other shit than cow's milk. And actually, there's other countries that just consume cow and goat, just goat's milk and sheep milk, no cow. And those are the healthiest people in the fucking world. So
I'd definitely be interested to try it.
Come to Ohio, bro. I'll get you some.
You're just trying to get me in Ohio so bad, dude.
Dude, I've been thinking about getting into music. So if you ever need a guest vocalist or something, I'm not the best, but I'll at least tell a joke in one of your songs or do a snippet or sing. I don't give a shit.
Sure.
But anyway, guys, that was Leon Kraft, the Midnight Fracture. He's going to be back on very soon. He just don't know it. I love you, bro, and please take care of yourself. And if you ever need anything, reach out. We're not just interviewing guests. We are a circle of friends. And if you need anything, message me.
Absolutely.
Much love. Go check out Midnight Fracture. They are everywhere. I've listened to the album about 5 or 6 times, so you've got some of your listens there.
Thank you.
Love each and every one of you. And as always, live long, rock hard, motherfuckers.